The discussion centered on the two economies. We had a very in-depth report on them, on the Chinese economy. We gave a very detailed report on the U.S. economy. We expressed our concern about Chinese overcapacity globally and what that might mean. But the overall tone of the meetings was very constructive.
The United States is considering extending the tariff pause on China that's supposed to expire in 2 weeks, though the details coming out of that two-day meeting in Sweden were scarce. Secretary Bessent says we'll likely get more negotiations in 90 days. President Trump even hinting that he may be visiting Beijing to meet President Xi before the end of the year, but he said Xi would have to ask him.
Bessent didn't say likely. Bessent actually corrected the Chinese. I'm sorry.
No, please.
The Chinese deputy minister said there'll be an extension, but Bessent corrected him and said no decision has been made until Trump makes a decision.
Okay.
I don't mean...
No, that's okay. And then I'll add this.
We're waiting. There's allegedly an Oval Office meeting as we meet here.
As we speak.
And something will come out of that.
I'll just add this one nugget that we got this morning, since the Bessent sound was from yesterday. Hassett was talking about China in a gaggle. He was asked about it. He said, I think the ground is set for very positive developments, but in the end, the president drives a hard bargain.
Yeah. No, he's waiting to see. I have no idea how this is going to come out, because it's tied up, if I may. I want to throw India in, because the president did Truth Social against India. China and India have both been financing Russia's war against the Ukraine, and one might say, therefore, the West, okay? But through the purchase of oil, of course. China and India have both been financing Iran's war against Israel and the United States and the West. They have never been called to account, never been called to account. Now, President Trump did it on Truth Social today. He's going to slap 25% tariff on India because they're not playing ball with him in terms of trade negotiations. But also, additionally, he's going to put something on India unless they observe the sanctions that are coming up.
If they keep buying Russian energy.
Right. So that's important. Now the question is China. I think this trade decision that will be made today on whether or not to extend another 3 months should and will have something to do with China's attitude towards Russia and the purchase of Russian oil. All these things are linked. I mean, you try not to always link them, but you have to link them right now. I mean, that war in the Ukraine, as Trump keeps saying, needlessly, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people are losing their lives in both countries. It's crazy. We should end it. Russia won't. Do not aid and abet Russia. If Putin's going to be Putin, do not aid and abet him. So I'm just kind of thinking there's a lot of integration here, okay? There's a lot of overlap here. And you got, I'm going to guess, you've got national security advisors like Marco Rubio, for example, and others who will be in a meeting that would normally be just the trade and economic advisors.
I just have a question about the energy aspect of it. I mean, if you're China or you're India, you're getting the oil at half price, even though you're breaking the rules and violating the sanctions, and the president's not going to be happy with you. It's going to be pretty hard to pull those countries away from buying Russian assets to go to OPEC and pay full price for stuff.
Why aren't they buying from us? Why aren't they buying from us? Let us produce more. Look,
I don't think we're ready to export in that kind of volume just yet.
Well, we can sure ramp it up fast with all the deregulation going on. I mean, it's a key part of one big, beautiful bill. Look, the really clever thing that President Trump is doing with these trade deals, and the EU is a perfect example. They're not just tariff deals, they're non-tariff deals, they're also direct investment deals. So whatever the number is, I think it was 750 billion estimated direct investment in LNG, liquid natural gas, which is a clean burning fuel, which the Europeans have reclassified as a clean burning fuel. Their greenies are smarter than our greenies. Now, there's no reason why China cannot, as part of a broad-based deal, why can't China pledge to commit direct investment into liquid natural gas instead of building all those dirty coal plants? I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that, but that's what they are.
It's true.
Right? And it's true for India, too. We have an alternative. By the way, our experts will tell you, anytime you ask, Dan Briette, all those people in the energy complex, Rick Perry, that's right. We have the cleanest. We
do.
Not only is LNG, not only is natural gas clean, we have the cleanest.
No, I totally agree.
We have the cleanest oil, and we are the most efficient at the lowest break-even costs, and our technology continues to lower the break-even cost. So let them come to us. That's what they need to do.
Well, but we just talked about this last hour. China's trying to be totally self-sufficient on AI, which means they want to be totally self-sufficient. They don't want to be relying on America for power. That's why they're building these coal plants, right? I mean, so I hear what you're saying, but they don't want their wagon hitched to our LNG, I don't think.
Do they have a choice?
Well, if they keep building...
Well, right now...
I don't know. I mean, I know about the coal plants, building coal plants. I don't know what the numbers are and what their energy needs are. I don't know enough about that to know, but it's a pretty big country. They're going to have a lot of big demands for, in general, I mean, just for growth.
By the way,
They're
Larry, you
right
dealt specifically with China back in the first Trump administration. I've heard from you many times. They never honor.
Never.
They never honor anything. So what kind of a deal, learning from the first Trump administration, what kind of a deal could we make with them that would force them, that would back them into a corner to follow what they've signed?
They ignored our blood, sweat, and tears. Lighthizer, God, myself, Mnuchin, Wilbur Ross. They ignored the Phase 1 deal. And the Phase 1 deal wasn't a bad deal. I mean, for example, they never bought any commodities, manufacturing, farm, no. Oil, for example. Oil was a big part of that deal, I might add. They wanted to buy it. But they didn't, okay, never met the targets. We had even though Lighthizer had set up an adjudication mechanism for intellectual property theft, they did not honor it. Even though we were set up an adjudication method for the forced transfer of technology, they didn't honor it. Nor did they honor it. If you're an American business and you set up in China, with only a few exceptions, you have to have a Chinese majority on your board. Which means when you have a board meeting, the majority, and believe me, these are not lovely people that come to these board meetings, you know, with their friends. You got to put your whole technology on the table. The blueprint is there.
Exactly.
And guess what they do?
Steal it.
Okay? Ignored all of that. Now, how this figures into the current negotiations, I do not know. I have spoken to Scott Bessent before. I know he's very interested in it. I know it's going to come up. Question is timing and things of that nature. And, you know, all these things will impact, and eventually President Trump will make a decision. Maybe we'll get a decision today on it. But I'm just saying it's out there. That was part of this. It's more than just rare earths, is what I'm saying. And it's more than just tariff levels. It's all this other stuff that was agreed to and ignored.
The other stuff is really important, the guts of it, and holding them to it. If anybody could do it, it's this president. So we'll be watching.